Harry, we're in Acts chapter 15, verse 4 to 6. It says, when they came to Jerusalem, they were welcomed by the church and the apostles and elders, to whom they reported everything God had done through them. Then some of the believers who belonged to the party of the Pharisees stood up and said, the Gentiles must be circumcised and required to keep the law of Moses. The apostles and elders met to consider this question.
Yeah, so these Christian believers of the party of the Pharisees, I was not even aware there was such a thing. Paul and Barnabas have come to Jerusalem to discuss this topic. They have just finished their first missionary journey. Lots of problems, but the results have been very good. God has prospered the way, and many churches are established. They had returned to Antioch, from which they had been sent out 2 years earlier. They told their story and thanked God. And while they were there, a delegation from Judea came and started teaching this church that to be saved, they also needed to be faithful to Moses' teachings. Paul and Barnabas were not having it. The curtain of the temple was torn when Jesus died. The Old Testament was completed. So Paul and Barnabas were sent to the church leaders in Jerusalem to sort this out once and for all. Paul and Barnabas, Peter, and James, the Lord's brother, all agreed. Could you read verse 24, please?
Yeah, it says, we have heard that some went out from us without our authorization and disturbed you, troubling your minds by what they said.
Yeah, and that's how they started the letter, and to that they were going to send to the churches. It was bad doctrine. Please don't let this teaching happen or bother again. This is settled. But was it settled? Let's go back a bit. In Jeremiah 31, verse 31 to 34, God tells Jeremiah that he will give a new covenant to the house of Israel. Could you read verse 31, please?
Yeah, it says, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah.
Yeah, this is God speaking 600 years before Jesus' ministry. This is God's plan. Jesus said, I always say what the Father tells me. Does the Father want us to add Old Testament to Jesus' teaching? Think of the planning and effort that went into this. In 6 days, God made all of creation in Genesis 1. It took 600 years to fulfill Jeremiah 31. It took about 36 years from Gabriel the angel meeting Zechariah the priest to announce the birth of John the Baptist in Luke 1 to the day of Pentecost in Acts 2 when the new covenant is mobilized. Jesus' birth, growth, baptism, ministry, betrayal, conviction, death, resurrection, and ascension happened in between. Now these Jewish Christians are teaching that this new covenant is insufficient. Jesus' sacrifice on Calvary was not enough. Not only did Jesus' gift cover us today, it reached all the way back to Moses and beyond. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus and God believe that. If anyone teaches anything that is not found in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, don't walk away, run.
Amen. And you know what, Harry? When we really think about it, the Father's will is to be obedient to the Son. And we read this throughout the Gospels, like we were explaining. And it's such a simpler message, too, where we can be the only person who's a Christian in your city or your town where you're living, and you can still worship God in spirit and truth rather than these the Mosaic law, for example.
Yeah, I really encourage everybody to read Jeremiah 31, verse 31 to 34. It's really profound to think that that's what God wanted, to send an inside-out program, not sacrificing lambs and so on. Jesus did all that on the cross. He paid the penalty, and now we have to live responsible lives to Jesus' teaching. Really simple. Not easy, but he gives us a new heart, a new spirit that we can do this and makes it quite a joy. It's a beautiful program. Paul was one of the happiest people you read about in the Bible, and he certainly laid it down.
Amen. Thanks a lot for this, Harry.
Thank you.